What I'm about to reveal is going to rattle the very pillars of Arrowhead Stadium and redefine everything you thought you knew about the Chiefs' future trajectory. Hold up, hold up, hold up. Before we dive headfirst into this NFL-altering revelation, I need a quick favor from y'all. Smash that like button, and I mean right now. Because what I'm about to unveil is going to make you reconsider everything about Kansas City's defensive blueprint. Drop a W in the comments if you still ride with Andy Reid's master plan, or an L if you think this organization is about to fumble the biggest decision in franchise history. And, for the love of football, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we're about to dissect a contract situation that could either fortify this dynasty's foundation or rip it apart at the seams. Now let me break something down about the cornerback position in today's NFL. This ain't your daddy's Sunday football. These modern-day defensive backs are getting compensated like franchise quarterbacks. And honestly, they've earned every penny. In this dominated era, if your secondary can't shut down elite receivers, you're toast. Period. We're talking about professional athletes securing contracts that would make Wall Street titans envious. And the pay scale? It's skyrocketing like there's no gravity. Just look at Derek Stingley Jr. He obliterated the market with a 3-year, $90 million, 0 cents extension. A mind-blowing $89 million, 0 cents of which is fully guaranteed. Let that sink in for a second. $89 million guaranteed. That's more than the GDP of some small nations for a man whose job is to run backward and disrupt passing lanes. But in today's league, that level of coverage is worth every dime. The market doesn't care how you feel about it, and it certainly doesn't offer discounts. As of now, 6 cornerbacks are raking in over $20 million, 0 cents per year. That's more than Tom Brady earned in entire seasons while stacking Super Bowl rings like poker chips. And here's where things get spicy. Chiefs Kingdom? Because Trent McDuffie might be the next elite name to crash that $20 million, 0 cents per year club. And what it happens? It'll send shockwaves through the entire league hierarchy. McDuffie is heading into his age 25 season. Prime real estate, in football terms. Not green, not over the hill, just perfectly poised at the intersection of talent and experience, ready to dominate. He's entering the 4th year of his rookie deal in 2025, and Kansas City's front office has already locked in his 5th-year option for 2026 at $13,600,000, 0 cents. But here's the real million-dollar question, or should I say $100 million dilemma. When will Brett Veach pull the trigger on a blockbuster extension? Because if you know the Chiefs' history with cornerbacks, it hasn't exactly been a love story. They've got a habit of letting homegrown lockdown artists walk right out the door once their rookie contracts expire, like they're operating some sort of cornerback timeshare program. L'Jarius Sneed? Gone signed a 4-year, $80 million, 0 cents deal with Tennessee. Charvarius Ward walked straight into a deal with San Francisco in 2022. It's been a pattern. Treating DBs like rental cars. Drive them hard for 4 years, then upgrade. But McDuffie might be the exception. He's already notched a first-team All-Pro nod and a second-team selection in just his first 3 seasons. That's not just impressive, it's elite. Most cornerbacks spend half a decade just learning how to backpedal without eating turf. But not this kid. Trent McDuffie has already cemented himself among the NFL's elite, earning national recognition as one of the premier lockdown defenders in the game, and it's not just about regular season awards. McDuffie shows up when the spotlight is blazing and the pressure is suffocating. He's been an indispensable force during the Chiefs' postseason battles, delivering clutch plays when legacies hang in the balance. That's not the kind of player you let walk to Tennessee or San Francisco over a few million in cap space. That's the kind of cornerstone you build a dynasty around. Let's not forget, the 2022 cornerback draft class was absolutely stacked. Derek Stingley Jr., Sauce Gardner, Tariq Woolen, and McDuffie all entered the league together. And now, that class is starting to cash in, big time. Stingley just blew the roof off the market with a 3-year, $90 million, 0 cents extension that includes a staggering $89 million, 0 cents guaranteed. Every other corner in that class, they're watching, they're calculating, they're next. Before Stingley reset the market, J.C. Horn briefly held the title with a 4-year, $100 million, 0 cents deal signed just 1 week earlier. But that's how fast the NFL moves. What's elite on Monday becomes average by Friday. It's the reality of contract negotiations in the modern salary cap era. Patrick Surtain II secured his own bag last offseason, 4 years, $96 million, 0 cents, with $77,500,000, 0 cents, guaranteed. Each one of these deals keeps raising the financial ceiling, and there's no sign of it slowing. Supply and demand, 32 teams, maybe 10 true shutdown corners at any one time. Now here's where it gets urgent for Chiefs Kingdom. This market is only heading one direction, up. If Kansas City wants to lock in McDuffie long-term, they better act fast. Every day they delay, another corner signs a monster deal, and McDuffie's price tag ticks higher. And here's a crucial piece most fans overlook. When Stingley signed that $90 million 0 cents extension, he still had 2 years left on his rookie deal, year 4 and the 5th-year option. So in reality, it's a 5-year, $113 million 0 cents contract. That averages out to $22,600,000 0 cents per year, not $30 million 0 cents. That number sounds a whole lot more palatable, doesn't it? J.C. Horn had a similar structure. His total payout over 5 years, $112,500,000 0 cents. Patrick Surtain, $119,300,000 0 cents over 6 years, roughly $19,900,000 0 cents annually. These are the financial benchmarks Brett Veach and the Chiefs front office will be staring down when they enter the negotiation room with McDuffie's camp. It's not just about the extension money, it's about total compensation over the entire deal. Here's where it gets even more intriguing. There hasn't been much noise yet about a McDuffie extension, but smart money says the Chiefs would be wise to strike a deal sooner rather than later. Wait too long and they'll be forced to match or exceed another inflated contract. And when you stack McDuffie's resume against the competition, the case for a lucrative extension becomes undeniable. Stingley earned his first Pro Bowl and first-team All-Pro nod last season. Impressive. Horn just reached his first Pro Bowl, but McDuffie, he already has both a first-team and second-team All-Pro selection, plus big-time playoff heroics. And don't overlook the most underrated trait in the NFL, availability. McDuffie has stayed healthy for 2 straight seasons, which matters. Cornerback is one of the most physically taxing positions in the sport. Durability isn't a luxury, it's a requirement when you're about to invest 9 figures in a player. As it stands, McDuffie is set to earn $2,610,000 0 cents in 2025 and $13,630,000 0 cents in 2026 via the 5th-year option, $16,240,000 0 cents over 2 years. Use Stingley's deal as a blueprint, and McDuffie would need at least a 3-year, $96,800,000 0 cents extension to match that total compensation level. But here's the wrinkle: guaranteed money. Stingley's near fully guaranteed deal may have been an outlier, based on timing, leverage, and desperation. McDuffie might not receive that same level of security, but a sizable chunk should still be guaranteed, especially for a deal spanning 5 seasons. The smart move for Kansas City? Structure the extension to give McDuffie elite cornerback money while maintaining cap flexibility. And let me be crystal clear, this isn't just about acquiring a quarterback. This is a calculated, all-in gamble. Rodgers, for those unfamiliar, and seriously, where have you been, is a 4-time MVP, a Super Bowl champion, and one of the most cerebral and dangerous QBs to ever lace up cleats. But even legends meet their match. Father Time remains undefeated. And Rodgers, now near the twilight of his career, has one shot, one final crusade. The Steelers are betting it all on his experience, arm talent, and football IQ to carry them through a brutal AFC gauntlet. And that path runs straight through Kansas City, which means we're staring down the barrel of an epic clash. Rodgers versus Mahomes. Legacy versus ascendancy. The past colliding with the present for a shot at football immortality. But the plot thickens even further. Recently, Ben Roethlisberger, the legendary Steelers quarterback and 2-time Super Bowl champion, was asked a deceptively simple but explosive question. If you had to pick your starter, would you take Aaron Rodgers in his prime or Patrick Mahomes right now? And what Big Ben said sent shockwaves through the entire football world. His answer wasn't just bold, it was revealing. I would take Aaron in his prime over Patrick now. I think Aaron Rodgers in his prime was one of the top few to ever do it, and so is Patrick Mahomes at his prime. Patrick Mahomes is just entering out of his prime, I think. Wait, what? Patrick Mahomes is just entering out of his prime? That single statement has ignited a firestorm of debate, and it's only just begun. We're talking about a quarterback who's still in his 20s, a player who has already led his team to multiple Super Bowl titles and seems to sharpen his edge with every passing season. So, to suggest that Patrick Mahomes has already exited his prime? That's either the most controversial take in recent memory, or it's a glimpse into a hidden truth the average fan just can't see. But Roethlisberger didn't stop there. He went on, yes, I think Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal. He's going to go down as, well, another arguable GOAT. You know what I mean. There's only one GOAT, but there's a whole herd of GOATs. I think Aaron in his prime. Then we're talking about Patrick right now. Yeah. If we're talking prime vs. prime, now that's a real debate. I'd have to think very hard about that. Now that's what you call speaking truth while still paying respect. Roethlisberger is acknowledging that both of these quarterbacks deserve to be in the conversation when we talk about greatness, but he's also making a nuanced distinction worth examining. He's essentially saying that prime Aaron Rodgers had an element, an intangible brilliance, that even current Mahomes might not quite match. But he's also leaving the door open for a real side-by-side comparison between both quarterbacks at their absolute peak. So let's unpack this idea of a quarterback's prime, because it's not just about age. Prime is the convergence of elite physical capability, advanced mental processing, veteran experience, and razor-sharp situational awareness. It's when talent meets wisdom and execution meets instinct. Y'all, it's time for a real talk about what's unfolding in Kansas City, and for fantasy football managers who've been riding the Travis Kelce wave for the past decade, the forecast isn't looking good. Now, before you come for me, let me set the record straight. I've got nothing but admiration for what Kelce has accomplished. We're talking about a future Hall of Famer, a generational phenom who's been the gold standard for tight ends in fantasy football since the Obama administration. But the NFL is a young man's arena, and Father Time remains the one opponent no legend can outrun. Let's read the writing on the wall. Last season should have sent shockwaves through the fantasy football world, but somehow too many are still asleep. Kelce, at 35, wrapped up the season as TE5 with 97 receptions, 823 yards, and just 3 touchdowns. Now, I get it. Those numbers aren't bad. In fact, for 95% of the league's tight ends, that stat line would be career-defining. But Travis Kelce isn't the 95%. He's the elite of the elite, the benchmark. And when a down year looks like this, it means the decline isn't just coming, it's already here. Here's where things start to unravel. The analytics expose what raw stats try to mask. Kelce's yards per route run dipped to a concerning 1.67, ranking 21st among tight ends. His quote, let that sink in. This is the same guy who used to be Mahomes' automatic read, the security blanket. For context, he posted a 2.01 YPRR in 2023 and a dominant 2.44 in 2022. This isn't a slow fade, it's a cliff dive. And then there's the tape. I've dissected every snap he's played over the last 3 seasons. The drop-off isn't dramatic, it's subtle, but it's real. That first step explosiveness off the line, it's dulled. The effortless separation he once created, now it's manufactured, more dependent on schemes and spacing. Even Pro Football Focus handed him a modest 71.7 grade last season, good for 13th out of 74 tight ends. Respectable? Sure. But for a man who's owned a top 3 spot for nearly a decade, that's a throne beginning to tremble. Now, let me be clear, this isn't a eulogy. Kelce can still ball, he's better than most tight ends in the league. But in the cutthroat world of fantasy football, where production, consistency, and upside reign supreme, his trajectory is trending the wrong way. Let's talk volume, the lifeblood of fantasy tight ends. Even if a player's physical tools are eroding, heavy target share can disguise it. The issue that Monopoly Kelce enjoyed in Kansas City is fading, and it's not his fault. Last season, the Chiefs' receiving core was in shambles. Injuries left Kelce as Mahomes' lone trusted target. In a twisted way, that boosted his fantasy stock, even during a statistical downturn. He was the emergency valve, the fallback, the dependable presence in a collapsing structure. But when Rashee Rice was healthy and active, we got a sobering preview of what's to come. In the 3 full games Rice played start to finish, Kelce's production crumbled. 8 catches, 69 yards, 0 touchdowns on 12 targets. Yes, it's a small sample, but extrapolate that over 17 games, and you're looking at just 45 catches for 391 yards, numbers that wouldn't even crack the top 15 tight ends. That's a crisis for fantasy managers banking on vintage Kelce. And here's the real pivot point, the Rashee Rice effect. Initially, the fantasy community clung to hopes that Rice might face a suspension in 2025, a potential saving grace for Kelce's target dominance, but the latest buzz suggests Rice will likely be active from week 1, siphoning targets Kelce used to feast on. And let's be real, Rice isn't just filler. He's explosive, ascending, and ready to step into the WR1 role. That reality fundamentally alters the Chiefs' offensive dynamic. Mahomes is evolving, his arsenal is expanding, and Kelce, for the first time in years, is morphing into a complementary weapon, not the cornerstone. That's the natural arc of aging, even for icons. The Chiefs have always prided themselves on maximizing space and playmaker potential, but with a healthy Rice, we'll see broader target distribution, more creativity, and fewer plays where Kelce is Mahomes' unquestioned first read. And now, the truth nobody wants to confront: age. Kelce enters the 2025 season at 36 years old, a senior citizen in tight end years. The position demands youth, explosiveness, and endurance, 3 qualities that inevitably erode with time. Kelce's mind and hands remain elite, but the body is speaking a different language. Let's be real, the tight end position in the NFL demands a rare fusion of size, speed, agility, and elite hands. And the harsh reality is this: every one of those attributes erodes with time. What makes this position especially unforgiving is the constant physical punishment tight ends endure. Linebackers, safeties, and defensive backs collide with them on every level of the field. It's a role built on durability and grit, and few escape unscathed. The statistical truth? Almost no tight ends sustain elite output into their mid-30s. Tony Gonzalez was the rare exception, but even he experienced late career dips. Jason Witten had flashes of brilliance, but fantasy-wise, his production became erratic. This is the unrelenting truth of the position. It chews up aging players and spits them out. Not even Travis Kelce is immune to the laws of physics and time. And this decline isn't just visible in the box score. The real warning lights are in the efficiency metrics. Yards per target, yards after catch, separation per route. They've all been on a multi-year downward trajectory. That's not a blip, that's a trend. And in professional sports, trends in aging players rarely reverse. For Aaron Rodgers, his prime years were defined by a rare blend of cannon-like arm strength that could deliver frozen ropes through non-existent windows, surgical accuracy that made complex passes look effortless, and a football IQ that allowed him to diagnose and dismantle defenses before they even showed their hand. He didn't just throw touchdowns, he orchestrated symphonies. Every pass had a purpose. Every drive felt calculated. Every Sunday was a masterclass. He won 4 MVP awards during this run, and that alone tells you how his peers, the media, and the football world viewed his dominance. But even beyond the accolades, Rodgers elevated everyone around him. He turned good players into great ones and made an entire offense hume through timing and precision. That means front-lugging guarantees, inserting void years to balance cap hits, and weaving in performance incentives tied to all-pro honors and postseason performance. Look at it through Kansas City's lens. Mahomes is locked in. Kelce still has gas in the tank. A young core is emerging on both sides of the ball. The last thing they can afford is letting a talent like McDuffie walk, only to watch him dominate for a rival AFC squad for the next 6 years. Just remember what happened with L'Jarius Sneed. The Chiefs developed him into a stud, then let him walk. Tennessee reaped the benefits, and now he's shutting down top receivers in the AFC South. That's not the kind of roster management that sustains championships, and Andy Reid knows it. The margin for continued dominance is razor thin, even with generational talents like Mahomes under center. Every roster decision matters. Every dollar matters. Every player you let walk could become the weapon that beats you come January. Trent McDuffie embodies everything you want in a modern NFL corner. Size to challenge big-bodied receivers, speed to blanket burners, instincts to break up passes, and the short memory necessary to rebound after a tough play. But beyond the physical gifts, he's built for the moment. He's made game-changing plays in high-stakes playoff games, he's felt the pressure, and he's delivered. You can't draft that kind of championship DNA. You either have it or you don't. McDuffie's got it. The Chiefs now stand at a crossroads. Do they continue the revolving door at cornerback? Or do they plant the flag and build around a proven, battle-tested, all-pro talent who already thrives in their system?